there is a limit, and that's not allowed. And therefore, the Jewish people began to be persecuted, because that's very important to us. Is yes, we have to recognize and realize we're people, we're human beings, and there is a limit. At a certain point, we have an end to our capacity, our mental capacity, our physical capacity, our intellectual capacity, whatever it is, there are limitations because we're just human beings. And when we can relate to a higher power, a higher being, higher than us, we can bring so much blessing into our lives and draw down from that higher power, that source, into our lives. And that's why when the Jewish people stood up against this nation and said, no, we're going to fight for it because it's important to us, they in the end were victorious. One of the interesting things about Hanukkah is this. What do we do to celebrate Hanukkah? We don't go out with a bow and arrow the way we do on Lag BaOmer, another Jewish holiday. We don't go out with swords and, we won, we were victorious. That's really not the message of Hanukkah. The message of Hanukkah is about the miracle. Not, something happened that was like spectacular, but come on, so fine, we beat the odds. That's not the message of Hanukkah. This is something that undeniably, the miracle of the oil, that could have only scientifically lasted for one day, and it lasted for 8. Nobody could possibly explain that one away. And that's why we celebrate with lighting the menorah, to remind ourselves that there's nothing crazy and voodoo-ish about believing in a higher power, and that's something that should be integral and so, so important in all of our lives. And this is what gives us the desire to connect to that higher power, to God, and to remind ourselves that everything that I have, there's something deeper, there's something so crucially important. And that's why we remind ourselves the story brings out that beautiful, beautiful lesson. How this boy couldn't have anything, but he was already in tune with what really, truly matters in life. Connecting, being spiritual, being devoted to a cause. And one of the beautiful things, and this is a line that I live with, and I repeat all the time, it gives people a lot of reassurance. If you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. We have to remind ourselves that we stand for so, so much. We have so much to stand for, to stand up with pride, to say we're Jewish, even if we don't have people telling us you can't. The olives. Why do we have olive oil on Hanukkah? It reminds us of something that gives us a very deep lesson. The message of the olives is that the oil comes out when it's crushed. When the Jewish people went through the Cossack uprising, they went through the Spanish Inquisition, they went through the Crusades, they went through every possible superpower in the world, the Romans, the Babylonians, the Greeks, you name it. We've been there, we've done that in the names of Mark Twain. We've seen them all, they beat them all. And he ends off his very famous quote, what is the secret of their immortality? It's almost like we have this secret, and everybody is out to get us because of that secret. The secret is God. The secret is that we have God, Hashem, watching over us, making sure that Am Yisrael Chai, the Jewish nation, will live, we will live on. We have to remind ourselves that over and over and over again. It's the miracle. We are a miracle. Every single one of us sitting here in this room is a living, breathing miracle. So we'll bring these messages into our lives. Stand up with pride. Nobody can make you feel embarrassed. Nobody can make you feel ashamed. And we can, even in today's day and age, our society that we live in is an almost exact replica of the Greek culture. We are living in a society that absolutely worships looks, beauty, physical strength. We are hosting the Olympics. That's a very big accomplishment, right? And that's a very big source of pride for for many of us. And yet, what was it about the Jewish people? Was that they said, it's all very nice, it's great, but there's something very important that we should never ever forget. Our Judaism, our faith, and we should never ever let ourselves forget in the face of caring so much about what other people think of us. So many people had themselves wrapped around, you can imagine this big pole, stepping from the ground and reaching up higher and higher and higher. And yourself wrapped around that pole. What's the pole? That pole has been erected by all the big greats of all the industries. Fashion industry, technology industry, clothing industry, you name it. Every industry, they've got you wrapped around so tightly, you can't separate yourself from that. And it's a very hard thing for us to say. I can actually live my life on my own pole, my own foundation. I don't have to be so tightly wrapped around to a point that my entire day, my every thought, my every feeling, my every mood is dependent on, because I'm so wrapped around. I can just decide on my own what's really important, where I'm headed, where I'm going. That's the focus. So I want to wish you all a very, very wonderful, special, happy Chanukah, and may you be blessed with only happiness, great luck on all of your exams, and I wish you all the very best. Happy Chanukah.